The jury is reportedly weighing guilt that they may be pondering tonight's dinner. The prosecutor first called out the star witness, a big shot police chief who could probably scare a bear away. He stated that based on body temperature and other factors, they estimated that Mrs. Frenzy kicked the bucket between 9:30 and 10 p.m., likely due to being clobbered by a dull object. The police received a distress call from Mrs. Frenzy 7 around 10:40 p.m., and boy, things were getting complicated. After on-site investigation, police suspected a break-in, given the messy room and shattered windows. However, they found just 3 fingerprints: Mrs. Frenzy, her servant, and Waldo's. The chief officer then presented a shirt found at Waldo's place, covered in blood, which tested positive for typo. Talk about a foul play. So the prosecutor asked if they tested the victim's blood sample. The chief answered, "Yep, also typo. Looks like the suspicious finger was pointing at Waldo." Hearing this, Sir Fred immediately sprung up, eager to discuss the fingerprint fiasco. Based on past cases, robbers usually wear gloves, making it tough to find any fingerprints that pass the sniff test. Fred speculated that Waldo might have just finished a lovely chat with Mrs. Frenzy when a robber waltzed in, causing quite the chaos. The robber, shocked to find a person inside, panicked and accidentally handled Mrs. Frenzy. The prosecutor quickly shot up, calling it all Fred's wild imagination with zero actual evidence, to which Fred exclaimed, Then he brought up the blood and the shirt, claiming Waldo might have cut his wrist while slicing bread. He even pulled out Waldo's blood donation record, proving he's also a typo, wore a blood type shirt on. So the blood on the shirt wasn't proof enough Waldo was the killer, and the prosecutor had to reluctantly throw in the towel. But the prosecutor still had to remind Fred the blood on that shirt was basically useless evidence. He really had to repeat himself over and over again. How extremely annoying. With Fred's sharp rebuttal, the prosecutor had no choice but to call in the second witness, Mrs. Frenzy's servant. The old lady claimed she took a half-day off to deliver clothing samples to her kids, leaving behind a crisis. She recalled leaving Mrs. Frenzy's house at 7:30, only to realize she forgot the samples once at the kids' place. So she had no choice but to trek back after dinner, returning around 9:25 p.m. As she passed the living room, she heard Waldo debating with Mrs. Frenzy, probably discussing cats versus dogs. So she decided not to interrupt and grabbed what she needed, while the prosecutor urged her to confirm her arrival time. She firmly believed she got home at 9:25, staying a while at the kids' place before returning around 10:40. To her shock, she found Mrs. Frenzy had been murdered and quickly called the police, allowing the prosecutor to pounce. She remembered Mrs. Frenzy made a will to leave everything to her servant. Why is it now going to Waldo? The servant exploded, accusing Waldo of being a big scam artist who pulled a fast one on the inheritance. Fred jumped in, asserting that anyone in such a situation could be suspect. But based on her understanding, the elderly servant woman had poor hearing and was currently in the process of applying for a hearing aid. How could she confirm that she had heard the conversation in the room at 9:25? Fred questioned her. How could she hear Waldo's voice through a 4-inch thick wooden wall? Such sharp questioning left the poor servant totally speechless with no chance to respond. Ultimately, the prosecutor had to call the third witness, and to everyone's surprise, it was none other than Waldo's wife, Christine. Fred quickly shot back, stating that according to current British laws, a criminal's wife can't testify against them in court. However, the prosecutor retorted that in strict terms, Christine wasn't legally Waldo's wife, because she previously had a husband in Germany and they had been legally married. Regardless of her current relationship with Waldo, this didn't break any laws. What a bizarre twist. Subsequently, Christine recounted that on the night of the incident, Waldo hurried home looking extremely anxious, and she saw blood all over his shirt. Although Waldo looked bewildered, Christine claimed he confessed to murder, which caused quite a stir. The courtroom erupted upon hearing this, and the prosecutor seized the moment to press further. Why is this different from what he told the police before? The prosecutor asked, to which Christine responded that Waldo made her do it, but she couldn't take the lies anymore. Even though she was thankful Waldo brought her to England, she never had feelings for him. Upon hearing this, the prosecutor directly asked her whether her statement was true. With Christine's statement, Waldo's murder facts were firmly established. What a theatrical twist. Little did Fred know, facing this, he was left speechless for a moment, and could only question her view on marriage. After Christine left, Waldo decided to clear his name, but the prosecutor pulled another piece of evidence. Turns out, a week before the incident, he consulted a travel agency with the young girl about the prices for traveling abroad. Knowing Waldo was always the poor guy, where did he get the money for a trip? It seemed he knew all about their $80,000 inheritance from Mrs. Frenzy. Waldo hurriedly explained he met the girl at a bar, suggesting they traveled together, although he couldn't even remember her name now. He claimed he adored the blue oceans and palm trees, so he casually asked who knew this would end up as murder evidence. Since Fred had no new evidence to present, the final judgment would take place the next day. Let's see who plays the flim-flam. Just then, a strange phone call came in, claiming to sell Fred a big secret. Don't forget to subscribe.